Peace.
Peace, Kateria. How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
Obviously, you're going to do my reading, but I wanted to also just have a conversation with you about metaphysics and as well as astrology, and maybe you can educate myself and the viewers that are ready for art. That's okay with you.
So you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. My name is Arhenis, and for people that they have a little difficulty saying my name, they call me R for short. So on the YouTube channel, it's called Ready4R, as well as the website, it's called Ready4R, and that's the number 4, ready4r.com. And that stands for Ready for Revolution or Resolution, Real Remedy. I sort of take everything that resonates with the letter R that's positive and implement it into my focus.
Okay, rectifying dysfunction with love.
Exactly, all of that. And I address social ills on my channel, so I'll feature people like yourself or other brothers that may or may not have solutions. And then if it works, or if it seems to be working, I'll even try my best to implement it into my life, and then promote that as well, see if it's actually a solution for health, spirituality, metaphysics, law, finance, economics, all types of things. And, we're friends on Facebook, and I've been following your timeline and seeing what you put out there, and you're very influential. And I'm always seeing pictures of yourself in memes all over Instagram. I'm sure you might have not even seen all of them, but you're like all over the place. Yeah, you're all over the place. And you're a young person, and I've never gotten a reading before. I always wanted to get one. As a child, I never really took astrology seriously, but I'd read the paper and say, okay, this is cool, and think, how could they even how does it resonate? But as I got older, I would things start to mean a little more. I'm January 7th, born 10:32 p.m. and it seemed like I'm like the typical, or I am the Capricorn that is being described.
Right.
Right. So I thought to take it a little more seriously, and not even in my personal life, I want to implement it more. I think it gives me or anyone that utilizes it just a little upper hand in life, and a little direction. If you could speak to why it's important to you, or when you got into it, or something you were always into.
So I've been studying astrology since I was 11 years old.
Okay.
I remember back then, a friend just telling me, oh, yeah, you can know about, this stuff that describes your personality according to your birthday. And that was all she said. And I was like, really? That sounds interesting. And so I was at Albertsons. I remember the store. I was at Albertsons, and I went into, the book section and the magazine section because I was really into my personality as a child. I don't still be into my personality. So, and not just my personalities in particular. I picked up a book and a magazine, and I saw I was born, January, this and that, and saw how everything was lined up, and it said Aquarius, and I read my description, and it described me perfectly. And from there, I was completely sold on the craft. And I just started studying everyone, my sisters, my mom, everybody's sign, and it described us all. So right from the jump, I was completely fascinated with this amazing science, and never left it. And when I just started studying just for fun, I didn't consider it studying then. I just was reading so many books and different magazines and everything, and I just started to see how the different people that I would meet, I would ask, oh, what's your sign, and what's your sign, and I was just so fixated on it.
Right.
I didn't think of it as a profession or as a job or hustle or anything at that time. I just wanted to know people. I was always really into people. I have a very spiritual background. I grew up Christian, and so it was really tough growing up Christian, having my mom and father practically be ministers. And when I was into astrology, I wasn't even allowed to bring astrology books into our home and things like that.
Wow.
But I was still speaking to myself. Yeah, and it was really tough. But I was always spiritual myself, and I felt that astrology, there was some spiritual aspects to it, at that age. But even when I was like in the third grade, I wanted to be an astronaut. The teachers are always asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, I want to be an astronaut or a teacher. So I was always into the planets, and then to know that the planets had personalities really drove me further. So at the age of 16, I came across this other book that kind of teaches you how to calculate manually your birth time according to the planets and their rotations, along with the latitude and longitude of your of the city and state that you're born, and it will configure a deeper set to your birthday and a deeper meaning. And so once I did that, I saw more into my beingness, and I was just amazed that this science could tell so much about myself. And then as I grew more into it, I saw, like, as I got a little bit older, I saw how it could actually help people. In consciousness, I had my spiritual awakening in 2011 at the age of 24. And in consciousness, we know that knowing ourselves is the truest journey of consciousness and higher awareness, higher thinking, and a better life. And knowing my background in astrology and knowing that science, it allows you to know yourself more than any other science that I have seen personally that is out there. And so I'm like, if I can do astrology charts on others and, my friends and my family, and get them to know more of themselves, know their patterns, know their behaviors, know the cycles that are taking place in their life and the certain things that are happening, they will know how to maneuver themselves, and they will know how to correct themselves. Because for myself, I've been able to know my own habits, my strengths as well as my weaknesses, and even know the times that I will be able to readily get over those certain things, those certain weaknesses. And it has made my life miraculous. It has made my life beautiful. I just, as of a couple of years ago, have been actually living through astrology. Planning my life according to certain astrological placements. And I know when people say certain things like that, or when we think of utilizing astrology for the betterment of our lives, people think that there are limitations. And so there's like this battle in the metaphysical world and with astrology. But it's kind of like the battle between men and women, or the battle between masculine and feminine energy. It's not that there's necessarily a battle. There are opposites and there are differences. But if we bring them together and we allow them to work together, we can maximize our life, what we attract into our lives. And there's much more of a bigger benefit and reward out of life. So as of a couple of years ago, when I started using astrology for my everyday life, like, I have seen myself getting over obstacles much faster, much smoother, and just knowing the certain placements, like Mercury's retrograde right now in the sign of Aquarius, and all that entails, it allows me to be more alert and more aware of what's going on, and then to focus on another area that's better at that time for me, opposed to trying to sign a new contract or go traveling all over the place. It's like, okay, well, Mercury's retrograde right now, so I'm going to be speaking to old friends, so this is a perfect time for me to mend old relationships. And what I've learned is, like, when you follow astrology, it's as if, like, okay, the issues that come to us in life is when we don't follow the planetary rotations, when we're kind of going against the grain. And a wise man once said the wisest thing a person can do is be of the times that they are in. So, for instance, it's like, if you're in class, that's not the best time to be having an orgasm. It's like, you should not have an orgasm while you're in class. That's non-effective. Or when you're at a funeral, you shouldn't be on your phone laughing at memes. That's rude, Or you shouldn't be thinking about paying the bills while you're making love. When you are of the times that you are in, you can maximize the benefits more than, any other time. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. And so what I have noticed for myself is that when I am in alignment when I'm not going against the flow of the planetary rotations, and I know where they are, and I know the maximum benefit, and I work myself according to that, it's as if there's a key that opens unto you from the universe. Like these planets just send you so many blessings that you couldn't perceive before. You know, it's like a Rubik's Cube. You're like lining yourself up, and you're like, okay, damn, I'm here now. You know, all the blues are with the blues, all the oranges are with the oranges, all the yellows are with the yellows, and everything makes so much clear sense. You could predict things before they come to you, and you could position and plan yourself at the right time, the right place at the right time. And people say, oh, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time when this certain situation happened. Well, if he knew what was going on astrologically, he may have avoided that situation and may have granted himself a much greater outcome than what had happened. So astrology has definitely read beneficial in not just seeing it as entertainment, what a lot of people read it for, but to actually utilize it to your benefit in your life. It's so rewarding.
Now, I wanna go back a little bit. You mentioned certain things. You mentioned that you had a spiritual awakening, I think, at the age of 24.
Yes.
Now, if you can, you don't have to go into this, but I just want to know, like, what was it that actually happened, or you know, what happened, and if you could let us know, you know, how did that?
Yeah, that's not a problem. So, I turned 24 in 2011. Mm-hmm. I'm having my 29th birthday coming up at the end of the month. Super excited, but so what happened to me is, first things first, I have always been more alert. I had always been alert or aware or conscious my whole life, more than others that I have seen. So I've been like that weird girl in the school, or, you know, the child in the class that talked too much, or I didn't really feel satisfied from the things that I was learning in school because I felt that there was more to life to know. So I have always been a bit of a rebel. I mean, I am an Aquarius, so I was always a bit of a rebel. But when I was 24, like, I felt this energy, like, coming upon the planet, and I knew that a major shift and change was going to come to me, and in my life, I just felt it. And so, I mean, I had already been studying certain things, knowing about melanin and Black history, our people, and, you know, the different things that are on Earth. You know, I always knew that there was a more spiritual way of living, and I've always had psychic premonitions and all those types of things. So when 2011 came, I felt this major shift about to come to me, and I literally felt like something was coming to me that was literally about a million light years away, just say, you know, for instance. And so it was like this energy that was pulling on me, but it wasn't fully there. So what I did for my 24th birthday, I wilded out that whole year. I had an alter ego birthday party where I was a vampire, Dracula's wife, and I had a bunch of cupcakes and chicken enchiladas and beef enchiladas, and I started drinking soda again. I stopped drinking soda when I was 14. And I just was wild, and everyone's like, why are you going so wild all of a sudden? And I'm like, because I'm about to change, and all these little things that go on Earth, I'm not going to be able to take pleasure in, so I'm getting anything out of my system as much as I possibly can. So I kind of like, I was going to all the clubs and going to all the parties in 2011, but then I went through a breakup, and I asked my sister to come to my house. She was already like eating raw foods and raw vegan foods and things like that. And she had also went through a spiritual awakening a couple of years prior. So I was like, you know, I really want to change my diet. I don't want to be eating the foods that I'm eating. So if I could have you move into my house, and so now you don't have to worry about rent while you're here. Like, I just really want to change what I'm eating. I go into the stores and I don't know what to buy. I'm like starving myself because I didn't want to eat any of the food. So she came. She lived in my house for a few months and helped me change my diet and everything. Then August comes, or late July comes, and I told my sister, I'm like, I feel a change about to come into me. Within 1 week from now, I'm about to be a different person. And literally August 3rd comes, and it felt like a light bulb just shined and went off inside of my brain, and I just started having all these psychic premonitions, like, but it was like instantaneous premonitions, like, oh, what is what does a Nissan Altima mean? And then my car alarm, which was a Nissan Altima, the alarm just started blaring from out of nowhere. And then I just started seeing all these symbols. And I was helping my grandmother across the street, and there's cars. Like, all these things were just happening rapidly, fast. And I would speak a person's name, and then they would ring my doorbell all of a sudden right away. And then I started getting all this information about life and reality. And I was telling my sister, like, certain things. And I heard this information is written in this book, or, the ancient gods talked about this or talked about that. Like, everything that I was speaking, she had heard, a master teacher or someone speak of it before. And then the 12,000-year cycles that take place on the planet Earth, I was getting all this information downloaded into my brain. Mind you, I had never read a book on any of these things. And I was given the information, the knowledge of good and evil. When I realized when I was 16 years old, I had a diary, and I named my diary Ptah. And I didn't know about the ancient deity, the ancient Egyptian Kemetic deity, Ptah, but I named my diary Ptah. And he had a duty to speak truth, into the world. It was when I did 2.5 years in juvenile hall. I had a diary, and I wanted to speak the truth about the different things, the environment of what I was going through at that time. And so my sister was like, yeah, the ancient deity, his name is Ptah, all about, the truth, the creation and everything. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. So, and then I had always been in alignment to the number 1111. I have an email that's to this day, Tiffy1111, and I had that email when I was 18 years old. And I've been meditating at the time, 1111, since I was 11 years old myself. And I'm like, we need to turn November 11 into an actual holiday. And I was really fixated on 1111 when I was 11 years old, because I saw that on the clock, you only see P.
Yeah, peace. Pardon me, I don't know if that's my side or your side, but I'll say this. I have been having some issues with prior phone calls, so pardon me if we lose service or whatever. But I'll continue to call back.
I understand Mercury's retrograde. So.
You said Mercury's retrograde right now?
Yeah, Mercury's retrograde, so that causes issues with technology, drop calls, miscommunication, arguments, all kinds of things.
Wow. Yeah, I wanted you to also go into that, because what happens is I had just learned about Mercury retrograde maybe last year, or at least I started to really pay attention to those things, and I see people complain about it on Facebook, and I want you to go into that as well. But we had actually lost service when you're talking about the number 11, so I don't know if you want to continue with that and then go into the Mercury retrograde.
Oh, yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I was telling you about my spiritual awakening. So yeah, so 1111, it was I had been praying and meditating to 1111 since I was 11 years old, because it was the only number you see on the clock where you see 4 of the same number, unless you have like the military time, you see 222, but on the regular clock you just see 1111. And so when I came into my spiritual awakening, and I'm like seeing 1111 everywhere, and other people adhering to 1111, it was definitely odd for myself. But I'm like, this is quite interesting, and understanding that 11 is the sign Aquarius is the 11th sign of the Zodiac. I kind of, understood it more, but then November 11, 2011 came right after I had my spiritual awakening back in August. That's when I was given the dream and the premonition and the vision to do what I'm doing now, and that's holding the event, the Real Family Reunion, Return of the Gods, to bring our people together, not just through social media, but to bring our people together in person. And
hold on. My fault for stopping you where you were, but I just got a little excited. You said you're having a Raw event?
Yes, I have a huge event. We had our first event in 2012, and it's called the Real Family Reunion, Return of the Gods, where the conscious, I don't like to say conscious so much, because the word has been overused, although it's an amazing word, but enlightened, awakened, aware spiritual beings come together, and we celebrate our ascension. We celebrate this energy that's taking place on the planet, and we also award our master teachers who have been bringing us the knowledge, such as the late Dr. Frances Cressy Welsing, Rise in Paradise goddess. We were going to honor her this year at the event, and we still will have a tribute to her. And this year, Dr. Phil Valentine will be awarded for the great works he has done. But we bring all the metaphysical teachers, the spiritual leaders and teachers, as well as everyone to this event, and we celebrate our ascension process, and we get a chance to network and build with one another and see each other in person, and not just on social media. But it's a very major event. We have live entertainment. We have different speakers, motivational speakers and guest speakers, life speakers, I shall say, vegan and raw foods, and a plethora of vendors who are selling amenities which align to us. And it gives us that chance to meet in person and network with one another, because really this ascension process, what is happening is that we are awakening to a whole new way of living and a whole new way of life. And the beings that are here on earth that are doing these great works, we will be deified as great goddesses and gods of this time, thousands of years from now. Wow. And so this event allows us to come together and meet each other in person. In our first event, we had 1,700 people in attendance. People from all over the U.S. Yeah, it was a very beautiful, very amazing event.
Right.
And so Hold
on. I want to pause you for a second. You may or may not know. I don't think you know, but I'm what's called a raw fruitarian. So I'm I'm extremely excited now that you're mentioning these things. I also have a Facebook group called the 6-Month Optimal Health Challenge, where.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's my group, as well as a gentleman by the name of Dr. Ali Muhammad's group, and I also have another Facebook group called Ready4 Raw Food, and that's also my company. And with that, Ready4 Raw Food, we celebrate the fruitarian as well as the raw vegan lifestyle. Just a celebration of that, of those, because it's very tough to meet other people that are into raw veganism, and even harder to find people that are into raw fruitarianism, as well as practices such as sun gazing and sunbathing.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't know, I didn't know that you were having this particular event, but I want you to go into the details of that. When is it? Where is it? How can I be in attendance? How do people go? And,
So the event, this year's reunion is going to take place out here in California at San Pedro Point Fermin Park. It's a beautiful park. It's off a cliff on the beach. It's so beautiful, where we have a panoramic view of the water and the palm trees and everything on a 100-foot cliff. It's very nice. And so we have the website that is the final touches are being done right now. But the event is $20 pre-sale. For the pre-sale tickets, it will be $35 at the door. And as soon as we have the website up, people will be able to purchase tickets and everything for the event coming March and April is when we'll start the sale of the tickets and everything.
And what city is it?
It's going to be in San Pedro at Point Fermin Park in California.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully I can get there. I'm in New York, Brooklyn, New York, so I hope I can get there. I'm going to do everything I can to get there, because I would love to network with these.
Oh, yeah. And you'll hear more about it. I will be doing bigger promotions and everything on it, so you'll definitely hear more about it coming in March, is when we start our promo. Right now we're in the workings of constructing everything, lining it all up, doing all the background work, the paperwork and all that stuff.
Wow,
right now.
This is amazing. This phone call is getting better as we speak. I'm excited. And we could even do something in regards to promoting that on Ready4R as well. But yeah.
Right, thanks.
Most definitely. I would like to know about the Mercury Retrograde, because there's a lot of people that don't know about this particular thing. And also after that, I want to go into why do you think people are afraid of that? Because afraid of, not Mercury Retrograde, but afraid of astrology or astrology readings and things of this nature. Because I was speaking to somebody.
I would love to speak on that.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I was speaking to somebody not too long ago, and they were, I told them I was going to have a reading, and they were like, well, you go do that. It was kind of like, do your own thing. I'm like, what's so wrong about this? You know what I mean? And so I want you to speak on those things.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll touch on the Mercury retrograde first. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, It happens about 3 to 4 times a year, depending upon the year. And so Mercury is the planet that rules Gemini as well as Virgo. And so under Gemini and Virgo as well, but really under Gemini, it rules the thought process, it rules hands of communications, documentation, short distance travels, and what have you. And so when, as well as the immediate environment, the cousins, the siblings. So when Mercury goes retrograde, also shipping and handling and mail, I have to say that because Mercury is the messenger, Gemini is the messenger. And Gemini also rules the hands and the lungs and all these other things. So when Mercury goes retrograde, or when any planet goes retrograde, it's pretty much as if that planet is non-effective at that time. Or you can say it's sleeping, or, it's taking a break. And so when it's non-effective or it's sleeping or it's taking a break, those areas in which it rules kind of are thrown out of alignment or become haywire. But that's what we think in our today's understanding of Mercury retrograde. Although this time is one of the most beautiful times in the zodiac that I have seen personally myself. But you are not aware that Mercury's retrograde, trouble can, bring itself about. There's positives and negatives in any situation that you're a part of. It doesn't matter what it is. And so when Mercury goes retrograde, there tends to be more car accidents because people aren't paying attention, or there's trouble with the phones. You get dropped calls, or text messages don't go through, or your internet suddenly gets cut off for some odd reason, or, there's definitely more miscommunication and lack of understanding, lack of clarity. And so those types of issues kind of bring themselves about. But Mercury retrograde, the good side, and when you really tune into it, Mercury retrograde is a time to reflect on those certain mental processes according to where Mercury is writing in or affecting a particular part of your chart, because it doesn't affect everyone in the same exact way. It affects us all completely, individually and differently. And so it's a time to reflect, and you will notice that during Mercury retrograde times, old friends and family members that you haven't spoken to in a long time, they just start calling your phone or coming by all of a sudden, or you run into them in person, at the grocery store or something, or you get a chance to also finish up a writing or a recording. Like even me and you doing this recording now, I knew that it would take place during Mercury retrograde because a couple of months ago we spoke about doing such a recording and doing your reading, but we didn't do it then. And you said, we'll just, play it by ear and allow time to unfold as it's supposed to. And now we're doing it Mercury retrograde time because that's what happens when Mercury goes retrograde. You go back to what you were once doing. That's why it's called retrograde. RE means to remember, So to remember thyself and to retrograde back into what you were once doing before. So it's a perfect time to clear certain communications that weren't completed, certain projects, to mend broken relationships, to fix things, and what's so beautiful about Mercury retrograde, I even like to do my events during retrograde times. It's a time to remember those and to see. It's a reunification, and there you go, hearing the RE again, reunification.
Wow. That's amazing.
Reunion. You see the RE is there again, the reunion, the return, return of the gods, the reunion, the real family reunion, return of the gods. And so it brings people back together that may have, kind of separated at some point.
Wow, that's amazing, because my high school best friend, Christopher Castro, it seemed like he felt compelled to reconnect with me. And we actually went to the Brooklyn Nets basketball game on the 6th of the 6th of this month, and we brought in my birthday together as well, which is the 7th. So it's so funny that it's not even funny. I kind of quit saying it's so funny because I think it's just how things go when you're inclined and when you're in tune. So it's amazing that you're letting me know this, because again, I haven't seen him in I don't know how long, but he said, this year we're going to connect hard, and this is what we did. So thank you for letting me know that. And I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, and see, this retrograde is in the sign of Aquarius, and so Aquarius rules friendships and group activities, and it rules the internet, it rules technologies. So you'll see, and it rules the hair as well. Humanitarian projects too. So for those who are in humanitarian workings in groups, they may have to split up for a couple of months or even years. And now this Mercury retrograde is allowing those communications to happen again, or you're starting to see old friends, or a lot of people are going back to their old hairstyle. You know, they may have cut their locks and now they want locks again, or they may have had locks for a while and now they're shaving their heads and wearing their hair in another type of a style that they used to wear back in the day. And that's what the theme of this Mercury retrograde is, you know. So yeah, it would be a friend. Now, if it was retrograde in the sign of Gemini, you will talk to a cousin that you haven't spoken to in a while, or say, for instance, your brother was away because he was he's in the army or something, then that will be a time where he kind of comes back and you start seeing your brother again. And because the sign Gemini rules siblings and cousins and you know, things of that nature. So that's how it works. It's very beautiful when you know it. Like, I saw my best friend, my high school, not even high school, my junior high school best friend at the store yesterday. And I wasn't even, like, surprised or amazed or anything. I just smiled. I said, Mercury's retrograde. I haven't seen her in, like, 5 years. I just walked up to her, gave her a hug, and I was like, all right, see you in passing, and left. I will see you again as Mercury's retrograde.
You were expecting it. You knew something was going to happen like that.
Exactly. I already know. And I already know the people that I'll be in contact within the next couple of weeks that I haven't spoken to in a while, that were old friends or what have you. And that's how it works. And see, that's what I love so much about astrology. It just allows you to be at peace because you know. And see, Aquarius, the sign Aquarius is the saying for Aquarius. Every single sign has a saying. And the saying for Aquarius is, I know. And so we're in the time of the knowing, and Aquarius also rules over astrology, and astrology allows you to know, and this is why I call myself Kateria Knows. Kateria is my real name, but, you know, knows just being a, you know, thrown in. But yeah, that's what it is. It allows you to know what's happening and what is in today's time.
Beautiful. I want us to go into why do you think that people are afraid of these astrological conversations and things like that?
Right. Okay. So I will speak on that because I myself, well, not so much now, but I would get anxiety. I cannot read astrology, or not now, but before I couldn't read astrology at night. It would make me feel anxious. Makes me feel nervous there. It's kind of like knowing, you know, like, I don't want to know the exact day I'm going to die. I mean, I would now that I don't have fear, but, you know, you wouldn't want to necessarily know that information because you don't know how you're going to respond, how you're going to react, just by knowing that type of information. Although astrology can tell you the exact day and how you're going to pass away.
Have you done this?
I do understand. Have I done? I do know how I would transition, and there are. But see, the beautiful thing is that astrology, when you know what's going on, you are able to prevent it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my fault. We were losing connection. I apologize. You say we are able to counter it. Counter the death.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. It's to know you're going to die instead of passing away. You have a breakthrough, your spiritual breakthrough that turns you into a higher elevated person opposed to actually transitioning from this physical plane. So, like, for instance, I'm a Pisces rising, and so that puts the sign Libra in my 8th house. And so that means I have to take care of my endocrine system and balance my hormones and take care of that area of my body because hormones, you know, it rules the kidneys and all of those things. So that's an area that I have to flush constantly and, you know, take care of because it could be my demise. You know, you can formulate cancers, other things. Virgo risings, they deal with major headaches and frustrations in the area of the head, and Virgo risings can get brain cancer, or they can get shot in the head, or, they can just deal with some kind of brain aneurysm, a stroke or something, because they're very critical and they think too much, they overanalyze, they can drive themselves nuts. But if we know these certain things, like I myself, knowing that I'm a Pisces rising, I take care of my hormones, I take care of my endocrine system, I take care of my thyroid gland and make sure I'm not causing any harm to that area, where in other areas of my life I just kind of run free because I know that would not be the area of my demise. I can drive as fast as I want to, nothing's going to happen. Not necessarily like, under those regards, but, you kind of just know what will happen to you and what wouldn't happen. So, but you're able to prevent certain things from happening. If you have a chart that says you're able to catch cancer because some bad aspect to Neptune and Pisces and to your 6th house or your 8th house or what have you, you can, drink apple cider vinegar every day, or, go to AmadHealingServices.com and take the products that they have there to cleanse your body, to heal yourself so you won't end up with some form of a cancer or what have you.
Okay, so because of this, you're able to be more aware or more conscious of the things you're susceptible to, or your quote-unquote weaknesses are, so you can, just be aware of them and be more healthy in a sense.
Yeah. And so that's why astrology is beautiful, but that's also why people will have their fears in dealing with it. Like, another thing is, you can see if your mate is cheating on you through astrology. You can check on certain things, but just having that information, it could be, frightening, because it's like, well, what will I do after I have the information? It's not necessarily the information is so fearful, but people don't know what they themselves will do. So what I would tell the people that have fear of astrology is because they fear themselves. They fear their own power. They don't trust themselves enough to know that they can handle and get through anything that is going on, But astrology should not be something that we fear. It should be utilized as a tool to know, because our governments use astrology. The elites, they use astrology every single day of their lives to get through certain things. So if you get more comfortable with who you are and with yourself, you can see what's going on, or what's going to take place. That your car may get taken, and it can prepare you. It's kind of, you got to look at and this is to the people that are afraid of astrology. Look at astrology like knowing the weather. If you know that there is going to be a major storm that's going to hit your city in the next 3 days, isn't that better than not knowing? Imagine not knowing that there's going to be a major storm and you plan to wear some booty shorts and go outside and chill and have fun with your friends, and you plan a major event on that day. It's kind of like, I wish I would have knew there was going to be a storm. So astrology, it will do that for you as well. Like, astrology will tell you if this is a great opportunity to get a job, go on this job interview, and it will have you prepare for that, So, to the people that are afraid of astrology, they just have to trust themselves and to not be in fear, and to be a warrior. Like, know that you can make it through anything, and astrology is on your side opposed to being against you. It's not against you. It's there to help you to plan better in your life. And you got to think about it like this. I know we're in the age of Aquarius, but I'm already living in the age of Capricorn, because that's the age that's coming next in the next 2,000 years. And so Aquarius, the age of Aquarius is bringing astrology about, and where eventually within these next 1,000 years or so, everyone is going to be an astrologer, know astrology for themselves and follow astrology. But why are we knowing these things? Because we're going into the age of Capricorn, because the sun moves backwards through the constellations. And so when we go into the age of Capricorn, Capricorn is everything moving in a consecutive order, and everything going through hard work, and everything is just an automatic fashion of, okay, I do this, then I do that, then I do this, then I do that. That's how Capricorns work, and that's how the sign Capricorn works. So with us knowing astrology for these 2,000 years, knowing what's going on and learning it, we're just preparing for that next 2,000 year cycle, And so it just allows you to line things up exactly what Capricorn needs and exactly what Capricorn is looking for. And so during this age of Aquarius, we're preparing and getting ready for that. And then, 2,000 years after the age of Capricorn, we'll have so much more technology because Aquarius is bringing that forward. But Capricorn is going to line everything up, where we're going to be traveling to distant galaxies and, traveling all over this universe, So it's a beautiful thing. Utilize astrology to your benefit. It can bring you so much success. It can help your relationship. I use astrology in my relationship. Like, I know everything that's going on with my king, and he knows what's going on with me, with my personality. And we speak through astrology. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what happened because Mercury is crossing your 6th house in such and such and such. So, yeah, we just need to be mindful in this area or so on and so forth. And we're like, oh, wow, Jupiter's crossing our 7th house. This is a great time for us to get married or whatever it may be, or to get pregnant, have a child. We just know when the best time, will present itself to move forward. It helps me with my children. It helps me to know when they need to do what they need to do in their lives or what have you, and it helps me to understand them. My daughter's a Scorpio, my son's an Aries, and I raise them according to their individual ways, opposed to saying, no, you learn this, you learn that. No, my daughter wants to be an actress. Okay, I understand that. You have Saturn in Leo crossing your, in conjunction to your first house. That says you're an actress and a major star. My son's chart says he's a scientist. And so I raise them according to that. And they are so happy. I am so happy. My king is happy. My life is beautiful. My life is happy because I know. And I know what's going on this age of Aquarius. It's what's up.
So it, for the most part, it magnifies their purpose in a sense if you're raising them according to their signs. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I find it extremely interesting that you're saying that we're in the year of Aquarius, and Aquarius is to bring about the astrology. And now in my own life, I feel
you just broke up.
Oh, I apologize. I said I find it so interesting that you're saying that we're in the year of Aquarius, and the year of Aquarius is to bring out the astrology. And here I am on my channel bringing out the astrology right now. In my own life, I just feel compelled to. Like, I've been doing some research and trying to figure out what signs are the people that are in my immediate circle and how to communicate with them in a more impactful way. So I'm not impeding on them with maybe how I am or was, or I just try to talk to them or communicate with them in a way that would bring about the best outcome according to our sign. So yeah.
Right.
I've been doing that. I've been doing that, and like I said, I just find it amazing that this is the year we're in, and I'm literally doing what I can to learn it as I can.
Right.
I wanna go into about one more thing before we get into the reading, if it's okay, because this was the reason why I actually want to contact you in particular, because there's tons of people that deal with astrology. But I was watching one of your YouTube videos, and you talked about this thing called Astral Projection. And I've never, ever heard of Astral Projection, ever. I've heard of night terrors because I used to get them, and sometimes I still do. Really annoying. For those that don't know what night terrors are or how they are, I would say from my personal experiences, I would become paralyzed and I'll be sleeping, and then I'll get to, I guess, REM state, or I'll get to a point where I'm paralyzed in my sleep and I'm sort of aware. I'm aware that I'm sleeping, and I'm aware that I can't move because I'm paralyzed.
Right.
And it would be very annoying. It'd be like it'd be frustrating. Some people say they see insects and things like that. I don't see insects. I thought I saw visions, or I know I see visions, and I thought that it was my eyes kind of halfway open. But it was this one time where like I saw my genes, and when I actually forced my way out of that sleep paralysis, the color of my genes was different. So that was the time that confirmed that I don't think I was seeing what I thought I was seeing, or I wasn't seeing what was actually in front of my physical eyes. But me personally, I don't really like having night terrors, and I just wanted to go into that because I didn't know if night terrors were part of a astral projection, or if what people are experiencing as astral projection are actually night terrors. And I think I would get them more so when I'm in a state of stress. So once I realize that, I do my best to stay at peace, and so that I wouldn't have them as much. But yeah, those are night terrors. And I've heard of lucid dreaming, and I think I consciously lucid dreamt one time. I had actually did a little research on it, and I had received a little bit of instruction, and I think I did it the night that I actually focused and tried to do it. But I'm not sure. I can't honestly say that I'm sure. I just know that I was sort of aware that I was dreaming when I focused on it. But I want you to go into astral projection, and if you feel like referencing any of those things that I mentioned or anything else, feel free, if you've experienced them all three or whatever.
Yeah, that is very interesting that you say, that you ask if night terrors and astral projection have some coordinates with one another, because for myself, I didn't know I was astral projecting or that I had the ability. But my background, or the beginning of my astral projection, took place when I was about 7 years old, when I realized. Was there anything that you needed to say?
Yeah. And before you go into it, I want to say this. After I saw your video, I saw tons of other people mentioning astral projection, whether it be on my timeline or in certain videos that I watch, other people saying they've experienced astral projection. And before you go into experiences, let us know what astral projection actually is.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, astral projection is really when your spiritual body, because we have many different bodies, and especially with us rising into the level of the fifth dimension, we're starting to see more of our other bodies, and it's not just our physical body, but it's where your spiritual and or energetic body leaves your physical body, and you are able to see and go to different places and experience many different things. I've experienced so many things from an astral projection space. And so that's what I know that astral projection is. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that has an actual scientific definition for it, but that's how I understand and what I know of astral projection. So when I was 7 years old is when I had realized I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know what was going on with me. All I knew is that I was afraid of it. I would go to sleep at night, and it would feel like my spirit was leaving my body. I thought I was dying. That's all I ever thought. I was just dying. I wasn't able to move. I wasn't able to talk. I could barely breathe, and I would just be stuck until I'm like trying to fight and trying to use my physical body, but it seems like my physical body won't work, but I'm kicking and screaming and hollering, but it's not working in my physical body. And so until I would start shaking profusely, and then my sister would have to wake me up. And so when this would happen to me, it happened to me quite often when I was a little girl. At the age of 7, I started sleeping in the bed with my mom and sleeping between my mom and my sister, because it would happen to me so much, and they would have to shake me awake, and help me get through it. But I had to 2.5 years in juvenile hall from ages 15 to 18, and so when I was locked up, I didn't want to be in jail, or I didn't want to be in juvie. So when I would go through the night terrors, or the sleep paralysis is what they call it, I would go with the energy. I would be like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die, because I don't want to be here. I was facing like 4 years and 6 months in YA, and then that's the youth authority. I was facing 7 years in the youth authority. Just all this different stuff was going on with me. I'm like, I don't want to be here. So I would go with the energy. Wherever it's going to take me is going to take me. I don't care. And so, but instead of dying, I would float off, and I would see my sister, I would see my friends, and I was just like going all these places, and it felt really good. And then, they don't feed you good food in there. So while I was astral projecting, I still didn't know what it was called then, but I will go and eat pizza. So, like, it got to a point where the staff will say, all right, you guys, it's lights out, it's time to go to bed. I'll jump up, stop whatever the heck I was doing, and run to my room, where all the other girls are like, oh, man, can we finish this game? I'm like, nope, we sure can't, bye. And I will run to my room because I would be gone, you know? I was the happiest person to go to sleep. So I would, then I took it to a point where I was always astral projecting to New York City, because that was a place that I always wanted to go as a teenager, you know, being from California and everything. Born in Louisiana, but being from California, I would always be fascinated with New York. Like, there's a certain spirit of New York that I definitely ascended or was in tune with. And so, and I would just go out there and I would just walk along the streets and chill and all kinds of things. And I've actually met people in the physical real world that even though astral projection is still the real world, but I met them in my physical frame in person, that I've seen them, you know, through astral projections first. And those are the kinds of connections when you meet them in person that you're like, no, I met you in person before. Like, I know I've met you before. Not any of those things that it's like, no, you seem so familiar to me. It's like, no, I know that I came into contact with you fully in my spirit. And in the people that I've met, they have all stated that they were in New York, you know, around the time I was doing my heavy astral projection. So it's definitely like, you know, it's very interesting. And lucid dreaming and astral projecting are totally different things. I lucid dream, I astral project, and now I'm learning to astral project not only through sleep, but I'm able to send my spirit into the sun. I'm able to send my spirit other places. People are always telling me, like, I saw you here, or I saw you there, I felt your energy here, you were in my dream, you've been in, like, I just recently spoke to Michael Beckwith, and he was like, you're all in my consciousness, what's going on? And I'm like, I'd be everywhere. I'm not down to my physical body. I am everywhere.
Who did you speak with? I don't know.
Reverend Michael Beckwith, he was, you know, on the movie The Secret. He's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show several times. He runs the spiritual center, Agape, which I attend. It's the most beautiful spiritual center in Los Angeles. But yeah, you know, so I'm everywhere. So lucid dreaming, though, is where, you know, you're sleeping, but you become aware that you're sleeping, you're dreaming it, but you wake up in the dream. You become aware that you're in a dream, and you know that you can do anything. You can start shaving people's heads, and they can't do anything. You can jump in the air and fly away. You can knock people out, and well, that's, you know, that's my childhood lucid dreaming that I would do. But you're completely powerful. And what I do in my lucid dreams, I pick up roads. I turn into a transformer in my lucid dreams, and I pick up streets and I shake them out like I'm shaking out a tablecloth. And but I'm actually realizing that it's not just lucid dreaming either. That some of these things are actually taking place. We're actually able to create a natural disaster through these things, because it's spirit, and spirit is boundless, and spirit is powerful. You can do so many things. You can do anything through spirit, you know? And so I go out there. If you see people being healed and transformed, I'm not going to take glory and credit for everyone's transformation in their awakening process, but yes, my spirit goes into your sleep. I'm like Santa Claus, but a better version, and I wake people up. I send people. When people say, oh, can you send love and healing to my family? I literally actually go there in my spirit, and I give love and I give healing. We're able to do so much through the spirit, and especially as melanated people, we don't necessarily rule so much in the physical realm, and I don't want to say that so much, but like, you see a lot of things going on as far as the revolution goes, and we're like, oh, we need a revolution. It's time for us to rise up and fight the powers that be. Like, do you have guns in okay, you got a gun. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, that's so cool. So now after you shoot this person, do you got a missile? Do you have an airplane? Do you have gas that we can spray in the air to kill them? Because they have they rule the physical world of death, you know? So as soon as we try to fight back with guns and knives and all these little things that we find in our house, that they got grenades and all this stuff, they're going to blow us to bits with their physical weapons. But we have weapons, and that's in the spirit world. But we need to, as a people, we need to understand that our weapons are way more powerful than they could have ever created, greater than any atomic bomb that could have ever been created. And then they think they have a large army of 1 million, like 100,000 or whatever, if they really put all their soldiers together. But we have to be mindful that they have killed so many slaves, so many Indians, so many beings of earth have, in animals, so many beings of earth have died under their hands wrongfully, and those spirits are not resting until dues are paid. So we have an army of millions of beings that are doing all kinds of things on planet Earth right now, changing and waking people up and causing havoc to those powers that be. This is why their structures are falling, why they are not able to reproduce naturally. They have in vitro now to, have children and all these other things, and the sun is burning them to death, and all these other things, because we have an army that is with us. And this is why I deal so largely in the spirit world. I love the spirit, and I walk around with an entourage of spirits, and I'm not threatened by anyone, because if you ever try to do anything to me, I have an army full of spirits that are right here with me at all times that will correct anything that needs to be done. They're not always just fierce trying to hurt anyone. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an evil person, an evil witch, or causing harm or havoc. I'm here for healing, but I will always protect myself. This is not the age of Pisces. I am not Jesus Christ. I do not turn the other cheek so you can slap me. No, you offend me in any ways, I have all rights to protect myself, and that's what I am able to do through spirit, and that's what I'm able to do physically, but that's what we are able to do through spirit as well. So there's a lot of power that lies in these areas. So we need to utilize the knowingness of astral projection and lucid dreaming and all these other spiritual practices. Reiki healing. I can also do Reiki kick your ass too. You hit me or something, I can actually send a fireball.
What is? I've heard this term Reiki healing before, but I want you to go into it. Let us know what Reiki healing is, and because you're a vegan, right? Or like a raw vegan or vegetarian?
No, I'm not 100% vegan. I would say that I am probably 98% vegan. I do. I started consuming some fish, some salmon. Again, I was fully 100% vegan for 4 years, and with that being 80% raw. But with my blood type Rh negative, like a regular vegan will have to eat, 4 bags of spinach to get their protein. I, on the other hand, with my blood type being Rh negative, have to eat like 20 to 30 bags to get that same amount, because Rh negative, we don't build a natural protein within our blood. So you'll see me I literally need to just be a gorilla and just eat spinach all day for to gain any type of a protein. So I started aging faster when I went 100% vegan, and my bones were cracking and all kinds. I dropped 20 pounds in a month, and it wasn't healthy. So, but I do not do any dairy. I do not do any cheese or anything, but I do eat small amounts of fish. I probably consume some fish like 2 days out of the week, no more than that. And all my food is my vegetables are primarily raw, and what have you. And I definitely limit my intake of grains and pastas and oatmeals and breads and things like that. They're very small in my diet.
Okay, all right. Because I wanted to go into, again, me being a real vegetarian who has his own paradigm, or at least developing a solar lifestyle. I wanted to go into why it was important for you to be raw or vegan, or somewhat, you have your percentage, and also how important it is in regards to those spiritual practices, in regards to Reiki healing, astral projection, like being the fact that you weren't grown that way. I want to know the difference. Was it more intense when you were more vegetarian, rather omnivore?
Yes, it is. It is such a major difference, and your consumption from the diet space, because there's multiple forms of consumption,
right.
But your consumption through the stomach, the digestive system, is essential to your spiritual practices and availability, I will say. As Michael Beck would say, availability to certain things is vital. When you are not healthy, like I did grow up eating a regular diet, a regular American traditional diet, although I am from Louisiana, so in some instances it was a little more harsh because that soul food is cooked down to bits and bits of nothingness. So I did grow up eating, the gumbo and all the other traditional soul foods.
Chitlin,
although
hog
I never,
head, chitlin, hog head, pork.
Right, hogs and pig feet and chitlins and I didn't eat that stuff though, but we did do the shrimp and we did do the sausages. We did do the chicken and all that type of stuff. But I still, as a child, I was like, oh, why do we eat chicken? It has veins and cartilage. Like, this is so awkward. So I would pick around everything, But and since I've changed, like I told you in my spiritual awakening story, I was eating, a bunch of enchiladas and cupcakes and all these different things. But I told my sister, hey, move into my house because I just don't want to eat these foods anymore. I can go to the store and I don't know what I want to eat. And so, once I changed my diet, once my sister moved in and she helped me change my diet, I had dropped everything in a month. I got rid of my microwave. I just dropped everything. And so literally a month after changing my diet, I had a major spiritual awakening, and it propelled me far and much further in my spiritual awareness, activation, and all those different things. Because the reason why diet, and I don't like to call it diet, but that's the term that we have for it right now. But
more of a lifestyle.
Our diet,
live. Our lifestyle.
Yeah. Our consumption lifestyle. It's so important because there are so many, the Food and Drug Administration, they're under the same head because there are drugs within our foods. And so these drugs that are in the foods and just these foods being horrible, they're clogging our minds, putting plaque on our brain, clogging our arteries. And when this happens, we don't have enough oxygen in our body. Our receptors aren't working the same. Our synapses in our brains aren't working the same. And so we're getting mixed messages, mixed signals, and all these other things. We're not as clear as we need to be in our health. If your health is wealth, if your health isn't, in alignment, then your abilities aren't going to be in alignment, and your wealth isn't going to be in alignment. But your higher sense of awareness, you're going to be detached from yourself, especially with all the fluoride that's in the foods. The things that are causing hormonal imbalances are going to be throw you off from who you truly are as a being, Right. So your consumption is very essential, is vital. It's really important to your spiritual awareness and attunement. And since I have changed my form of consumption, I have been more clear. I don't get sick. I mean, I did come across this losing my voice with this Mercury retrograde, and it's in conjunction to my Mercury, or what have you. But naturally, I don't get sick. I'm not as fog brain. I can talk clearly. I don't deal with losing my train of thought. I'm not talking and going on and saying, oh, hold on, wait a minute, I was going to make a point. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. I don't deal with those moments as frequently now since I've changed my consumption because I'm much more clear, and that's what it will do. I reversed a lot of my aging, and the aging process is not normal to me. And the aging process, because we're putting so much junk on ourselves, our digestive tract doesn't know how to act, our brains don't know how to act, because we're putting all this death into our bodies. We're telling ourselves that we are dead. You're eating all these dead animals. Those cells, it's all about communication. Those dead cells, that dead chicken, that dead beef that you're putting into your body, all it is doing is speaking death to the rest of the cells in your body. And it's like a bunch of zombies walking throughout your body, like what we see in the world today. All these dead human beings, all these dead rappers. Meek Mill. I'm not kidding. I don't mean to say that. I just seen all the memes. But we see.
No.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I want to add this too, because people that follow me on social media more so than my actual channel know that I speak about parasites and how they influence our behavior. I think what you're talking about, it resonates with me because of what you're saying.
Right.
It, in regards to parasites, how they pretty much proliferate within yeast and fungus, and people aren't actually as in control as we'd like to believe. So I'd say within my own journey, I've become more sensitive to myself and the world around me, and now I realize, from my perspective, that we are all connected. And it's the yeast, the fungus, and the parasites that keeps us against each other and separated from ourselves and our true sensitivity. So
yes, very true.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I do want to I want to say this again. I hope that I can get to that conference or that event that you're having. Keep me updated on that, please, because I'm gonna really, really try to get out there for that one. Or at least if you guys have it on live stream, send me the link, and so I can at least watch it if I don't get out there. And I want to say this too. If you're up for it, because you said a lot, you said more than I could even imagine. Maybe we could continue these type of conversations, because I'm sure once I upload this, once I put this out, people are going to want to hear more about it. Because you touched on a lot of things, and I don't want us to just speed through it, because there's tons of things that I could ask right now to just be more detailed, but I don't want to do that in our first conversation. And then if there's time, we still do want to take care of the my Earthstrom, my birthday astrological reading. So I might have to even chop this up in a couple of different videos too, because it's going to be a little long, and it's great. So just to be in the fact that we're in a time where people don't really consume as much information as they did in the past, I may have to even chop this up in 2 to 3 videos.
Yeah, I do appreciate doing this interview with you. I have been in a space, I do have my own YouTube channel, and it's been on hold. There's just so much information, and I've been on information overload. When I had my spiritual awakening and all of these things that I'm saying to you, I am now reading books, and everything is just a confirmation for me, but I was just downloaded with so much information. I have so much to say. I have so much to share, and I do hope that you can make it out to the Real Family Reunion, Return of the Gods, this year. I will be speaking, and I have something very profound to say that I'll be speaking at that event. So, but definitely we could continue the interviews and the conversations. I have a lot to speak about on various different subjects and topics. And I do feel, I speak on oneness and what you're saying about the fungus and the candida. I'm like, my sister calls me the candida overgrowth specialist.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, exactly, because you know what? People don't, like, when I first researched the candida symptoms, I'm like, these are symptoms? Like, they would just seem like regular things that we just experience in the world over, whether it be the hood or whatever. Like talking loud is a symptom of candida. I'm like, damn. Like really? Like, it's crazy. But yeah, this is what I talk about. I would say everyone is experiencing a different level of candida overgrowth or candida albicans, and we just aren't aware of it.
Yes.